Hi gorgeous. Today I'm going to be taking you guys on my favorite leg day so far. This leg day is excellent for beginners and people just starting in the gym. First and foremost, you guys better be stretching. You see me starting with a poorly executed version of a cat-cow. This move originates from yoga and it primarily stretches your back. Now, stretching your back is important for leg day at the gym because several leg exercises engage your back muscles. Your back is a really big contributing factor for the stability and support of your leg exercises. So make sure you warm up and loosen those back muscles as best you can. It really helps you reduce the risk of injury, and it enhances just your overall performance during the leg exercise. Also, it helps promote better posture and alignment. This is crucial for maintaining proper form and maximizing the effectiveness of your workout. And of course, we're not going to skip out on stretching the rest of our bodies, which includes the legs. I do a combination of static and dynamic stretches. Static is kind of better for after the workout, but I do incorporate it beforehand when I'm more like sore that day or kind of tense. And here you see me getting ready for my first movement, which is going to be the free squat. I'm just loading up my weight, probably checking myself out, getting some confidence. And you can see I really take my time to adjust my feet and leg and hip placement. This is absolutely crucial. As I'm coming down into the stretch, I go nice and deep. My back is straight. My knees are not above my toes. I am keeping my butt tucked and not arched back. My head is nice and neutral. My gaze is forward. You should probably have your chin tucked a little more than I did, but I was looking in the mirror. I do this for as many reps as I can, and I increase the weight each set. It's important to really pace yourself with this movement and make sure that you are training with little to no weight when you first start this. You really need to make sure that your form is on point with this. You can hurt your back, and I have seen so many people do this wrong. Next, I am setting up for a hip thrust. It is really important that you set your hip thrust station up to provide the best ergonomics for your height and your ratios of where you need your bar to be and where you need your back to be and where you need your feet to be. Now, if you can tell, my base of my shoulder blades is aligned with the back of that block that I am kind of leaning on. And when I'm at that full position at the top where I'm flat, you can see that my knees are below my shoulders. That is not good for a hip thrust. When I go down, that's going to provide extra weight on my lower back, and it's going to strain my lower back. So I'm adding a plate here to give myself just a little bit of lift. When I put my feet on the plate, it brings my knees up a few inches so that it aligns with my shoulders when I am straight at the top of this movement. You'll see here, boom, it's a little better. It's still, I should have had a taller plate. I didn't, but it's a lot better than what it was. And when you're doing hip thrusts, you want to make sure that your knees and your ankles are aligned with your knees and your toes pointed out. As you're going down into this movement, you are to be hinging at the hips. Your head, your neck, your belly button, all the way down to your hip joint should be aligned in a straight row with your spine, and you should be doing this movement entirely with your glutes. Now imagine your back completely straight and you're sitting down and then pushing up with your butt cheeks. You're squeezing your butt cheeks to push up, and you're driving with your knees and your toes outward. You never want to let your knees cave in as you're going up with this movement. Also, your core needs to be completely engaged throughout this entire movement. You want a nice strong abdomen. Do not bend at your stomach as if you're doing a crunch. Like I said, you want to do a hip hinge movement with your hips and your glutes. Here I set up for an RDL. I wanted to try it with a plate underneath, and you can see as I'm going down into my first RDL, I can tell immediately that the bar is too far away from me. So I am gonna push forward just a little bit so I can be more directly under it. As you're going into this movement, you should have that bar touch the front of your thighs all the way down until boom, just below the knee, and then you're gonna swing back up. This is the same movement as the hip thrust, it's just standing. So you can see from my head down to my hips, it's all a straight line, and that's because my core is engaged and I'm making sure that I'm doing the movement with a hinge at my hip, and then I'm pushing forward with my glutes as if I'm about to sit in a chair, and then I'm gonna spring back up while pushing with my butt cheeks. And you guys, make sure that bar doesn't go too far below your knees. Just below them is perfect. You should feel it in your hamstrings and your glutes. I am now setting up for leg press. This is an absolute classic for every single leg day and should be a staple at least twice a week. I'm saying at least because I probably do it 3 times, maybe 5, maybe 10, just kidding. Anyways, your foot position on this pad affects the muscles that are being targeted. If your feet are higher up, it's going to do more glutes and hamstrings, and if it's lower or towards the middle, it's going to focus more on your quads. Make sure your back is completely flat on the backrest of this seat. You don't want to be lifting your back at all as you're pushing up. Your butt cheeks should never leave the seat, and you should be pushing the movement completely with your quads and hamstrings. You should not be feeling it in your back at all. And you want to always have your toes and knees pointed out, and you don't want your ankle to be below your knee too much. Like if it is and your knee is going over your toe, that is not good. That can cause some serious issues. So make sure that your ankle is in line with your knee or a little above it. Don't forget to pace yourself, breathe, go slow. Ego lifting is not tolerated here. Start out with a weight that is comfortable and add weight accordingly. I do these for at least like 4 sets, and the heaviest I go is 4 plates on each side. But when you're first starting, I recommend 25 pounds or 45 pounds at the most, just until you're comfortable with it, because like I said, a lot of these exercises you really can hurt yourself with. Always start slow and light. Now I am set it up for seated leg curl. This machine targets the hamstrings. Now you can do this movement in 2 different ways. There is the seated machine and the lying down hamstring curl. And I prefer the seated. I do both interchangeably, but when you are using the seated machine, it allows you to isolate that muscle a little bit more, causing you to get a better stretch and make it a more effective movement overall. You also have more increased range of motion in this position versus the lying down version, but to each their own, whatever works for you. This is just what I do. I do what I do. You do what you do. And for some reason, I love drop setting my hamstrings. I feel like it helps me get the most out of my hamstring workout because they tire so quickly. And my favorite way to work out the hamstrings is by drop setting them, meaning I will start at a fixed weight, like let's say 40 pounds. And with each set that I do, I will drop the weight a little bit lower. So I'll start at 40 pounds. My next set, I'll do 30 pounds. My next set, I'll do 20 pounds. And then my last set, I'll do 10 pounds. And to finish up the workout, I'm gonna do these abductor adductor movements. This machine is excellent for building your glutes and hamstrings. However, you have to do this correctly. For some reason, the girls on Instagram love to lean forward, love to sit with their butts not even touching the chair, and none of that is going to be effective. All of those movements are fugazi. Don't listen to Instagram when it comes to this. Do it the classic way that the machine is intended for. I have tried this and tested this personally myself. Every time I did it with my butt out of the seat or leaning forward, I hurt my back immensely. And when I don't do this machine, like for a certain period of time, my booty starts getting square SpongeBob. So I know that when you do this machine correctly, it really rounds out your booty, but just do it the correct way. Stay seated, keep your back completely flat against the backrest, and keep your hands either to the side or above your head to make sure your core is engaged. See that? Don't do that, girls. I was just stretching. Okay, yeah, that's my leg day. I followed it up with some sauna and 30 minutes of Stairmaster. I love you guys. Make sure to take care of yourselves. You are all valuable, beautiful, and very, very important to this world. If you haven't already, like, follow, subscribe, and comment down below. Love you. Bye.